Hello, hello. Buongiorno a tutti. It's me, directly from the workshop. Not yet. I'm sitting here in my car, and I thought it might be interesting since most of you want to see immediately the workshop. So I thought maybe it's nice to show you the way how to get into my workshop, right? So I'll have to, oops, this here is bouncing crazy. We have to switch a little bit like this. Sorry, the view here. This is the stand where you can see how I get into my workshop. It's the very last part of the house. Sorry that my windshield is so dirty. I could see that it's so dirty, but here it looks really nasty. This here is very close to the old museum where the Strat instruments were. Now they moved it to the Museo del Violino. Here in front, you see the Tower of Cremona, right? Which is very nice looking here. This here is then entering Piazza Roma, where it's very white. And here on the right side, there is a nice park. And there's also the tomb of Antonio Stradivari. And straight ahead, there is Via Solferino and then the main square. And we turn in here just to the theater Teatro Filo Drammatici, which was a very nice place. And this one was the theater to the Yellow Palace. And in my workshop is in this Yellow Palace, but you just have to drive all around. This bridge over the, which crossing the road is actually the part where the wealthy people years ago were living, and then they just went straight to the theater directly. And we are just driving around. Sorry for this ugly black stuff here. This is the mount from my cell phone. But here we come into Via Mauro Macchi. Okay. I will park my car somewhere. There is also Min already in front of the workshop. I just leave my car like this. It's not very nice, huh? But we will leave it a little bit like this. And we turn the camera so you see what I'm doing. Okay. So take the cell phone from the mount. Okay. Very good. And I have here a special permit to stand here, which I have to expose. Hold on, sorry, it's a little bit messy here. And I just put it like this. And then I actually should also wear here on the road even this mask for the 2 meters here to the workshop, right? We try to do everything as good as possible, but I thought I have to give you this here a little bit this way. So this is how it looks like here. My keys are here. Sorry, it's a little bit. Here, this is Edgar, and when you pass by, then you see it's moving, and then you can just see me on the window. Just do it once again. This is the front window, and when you walk, it's moving a little bit. Okay. Then there are a few violins on the door. And over there, somewhere is even the main square, the tower. Okay. Just between here, it's not so easy for me to. So if the tower is falling, it's probably falling on my head here. And then I can get into the workshop. We even attached here this information only in Italian, since probably the borders are still somehow closed and not too many people might get into it. Then we turn around. Even Min has still the mask on, but probably I can take it off because it's light here, because it's only the two of us, and we both were for 2 months only at home. So there's nothing which is actually troubling. Here we turn on the light. Now I have to show you here my workshop a little bit. You know it already from the video, but I think it is a nice idea if I can show it to you, right? So let me see here. This is the first room, and you have here a lot of nice things. Office, I even bought this here so you can clean our hands. And we are studying about how we can ship our violins in a way that something is dying here. Okay, that we can send our violins in a disinfected manner. So we are thinking about doing it. We started already this morning, but time was really passed by so quick because Min and we didn't see each other for approximately 2 months. So at the time I saw her, we just changed a few stories which we wouldn't do on the phone. And then when I looked at the time, it was 11 o'clock, but then it figured out it was 12 because the time the clock wasn't changed yet. This is Edgar life, you know. So now then I tried to change the watch, but it didn't work. So now I have to wait until tomorrow. And tomorrow then I will do things a little bit better. Here we have big mess. So this is the first room, and it's actually, I cleaned up a little bit. There were a lot of instruments coming in, and the boxes were all around. And here we have the workshop. It's really messy. Actually, I wanted to clean everything really nice and super great. And after 2 months that I came in this morning here, I was really impressed how many things we have here to be finished, to be adjusted, to wow, here's a little bit of dust on this base here. It's time to get finished setting in the neck. In the garden outside, they somehow put it here some garbage from the garden, which I don't like that much, and they haven't seen the turtle of them yet, but we will see it later on probably. And here I will put now then the cell phone on it, and then I will see how I can ask your questions. You can see a lot of instruments here. Something came back from which has been exchanged to a different shape from full size to 7/8 cello. And so then I took this back, and the other one was in Finland on trial, and we have now somebody who is interested from Taiwan. So I completely forgot the viola, which I'm doing for some man in Austria. This is a Mantegazza, very nice, I think at least. It's the original is from Michael Strasser from Vienna Philharmony, and I made already several times a copy of this one. This one is the one which Michael Strasser has. Okay, and this is my interpretation here. Maybe you can see, but it's a black and white picture, you know. I mean, everything is fine and fancy, and these F's are just cutouts with the saw. I still have to finish everything here. Like this. And then here I have a lot of wolf tone killers, which just arrived before I had to shut down, you know. And I have to fix that on another cello over there. I will show you. It's a cello made with a colleague in Venice, like this. This is so my tools, you know. this is how it looks like. It's really messy, huh? Actually, I didn't in my memory after 2 months, and when you see all your tools and everything, you have put it like this. You're impressed about how it all looks like, and that I'm such a messy guy. I always thought that I'm so organized, you know. Like here, you can see how nicely organized all the saws and clamps and all these things, you know. Actually, you can see it's just a workshop, you know. It's nothing. Here, these molds, you were asking a lot about those ones. I actually made them myself. So I have a few ones. Here, this one is already not anymore the type which I make. This one is already made by Bogaro Clemente in Monfalcone. I've sent somebody already the link. And the other one is actually the very first one, which I made together with Pierangelo Balzarini. You don't have to do anything. The screw changed it. Now they make it a little bit better, straight like this. This was my first type, but they made a very nice copy of it. Yeah, and it's nice. And then these metal parts, I also think I put it the link of it, and then the rest I made myself. Yeah, you can also buy it already done like this, but it's too big, so I prefer it when it's really small size, about like this. Like this. This is the working bench of Min. There's a Montagnana Lineamaki, soon born, you know, just have to finish here things, grinder, and things like this. This is how we put in the bass bar on a metal ring, the top, and then we make some spring inside. Yeah. I think this has still to be, now I should take it in two hands, in my hands to show you how I make it. Yeah. And then mainly I'm using the inner shape, and I bend my ribs around. Like here, you can see, this is the testore, which by the way, have to make it definitely because the customer of this instrument paid by March 10th, and on March 12th, we had to stay home already. So now I'm looking forward to finish my work here. And then very likely we will also a ole bull for left-hand side, which is also interesting. And I just show you here a little bit a smaller, slower guide in the tour in the workshop. And here you have all the different molds. And now when you look very careful, you can see that I have molds like this one, the outer one, and there's written testore on it. And the other ones are the inner shapes, yeah? So mainly I'm using the one from the inside molds like it is typical for Cremona, okay? And every time you make an instrument, every time it turns out a little bit different. But if you make an instrument with this one, this one, this one, then it's or they call it the French shape, or the outer mold, and then you build the ribs inside into it, you know. So here you can see how the ribs are made outside around, right? And here you can see the ribs, how they are put it inside, yeah. The advantage here is that once you have bent the ribs, you can already glue in the blocks, and then you can already bend the linings, glue in this, everything all together. And once everything is glued in, then it's done. So you can make it quite quick. Every time it's exactly precise the same shape, and you can make the top and the back somewhere else. Someone else can make it. I use it mainly because if I'm making an instrument with this kind of shape, then actually I'm sure that it is exactly that shape. So when I make a copy, let's say from the ole bull or the testore, then I make it with this outer shape. If I have my own model, then I prefer to make it with the inner mold. Yeah. This is a little bit this here. Here is a little bit of jars of spirit varnish. And so these brushes are in alcohol. And this is natural hair, okay. And with this one, you can, quite expensive, these brushes, like at least 100 euro one like this, and this one maybe even 250 something. And these one for spirit varnish are, how you can see, I have a lot of them, are great. Well, these ones here are artificial brushes, and I use them for the oil varnish, okay? And I use maybe for 2 or 3 instruments, and then I throw them away, and then I get new ones. Until the point that Ayon, my student, she said, "Hey, Edgar, you can wash them." So she took all my old brushes and she all cleaned them for me. Isn't that nice? I'm so grateful. And they all turned out really nice, you know, with soap and everything. This one maybe is not so nice, but this is probably I used for some dirt. Even here you can see a little bit some, if I put some terra d'ombra, then I don't use it like this, you know. This is a little bit how it looks like here. Here we have a lot of instruments in varnish process. All these ones are Scala Perfetta, okay? So they come in white. We told this to deliver, and I thought we better. Okay, I'm back here. I go back quick to that situation because maybe, okay, here I have some difficulties, you know. This is now you're getting into the secret story of Edgar, why it is so few videos in the workshop, sorry. So here you have somehow, again, this situation, if I go over there, the connection is bad. But so you have a little bit this system here, how it works with these Scala Perfetta instruments. And so we make like 10, 12 at a time, and then we have them here. And then this is the working bench of Anna Rieti, and she made here linea Maki. I think it is a Ole Bull, and there's still the neck to be set in, which takes a little bit of time. And things like this. Here, this is the working bench of Marco. Marco is not back at the workshop. Actually, I wanted him to be back at the workshop today, and I'm missing him as well very much. But there is kind of a procedure, so very likely we will get the phone call that tomorrow or the day after tomorrow he can come back. Otherwise, if it doesn't work out, then it will be the 14th. He will be back at the workshop because of some reasons, because of the lockdown, and I just want to have things all set how it should be, you know. Conti chiari, amicizia lunga. And over there is the fancy coffee machine, which I would love now to make a coffee. Let's see if I can, you know, when you, and it really works. Very good. So now I just push down my coffee, and before it's getting boring, we just go into the musician room, and I show you if the transmission is possible to make over there. And if it does not, then I just go over there into the front, and I open up my how you say, and then I open up my laptop, and I see all the questions, because here, while I'm taking the video here, I cannot read and walk, and it's too much, you know. So I just think maybe it's interesting for you that we have these things here going on like this. Coffee is ready, which is very good. Also warm. Very good. At least I'm really impressed. After 2 months, you get a certain distance to what you're doing. And I'm impressed what big shop here it is, you know. I don't know if we can go from here over there. here there is just a, the backside of the shop is never nice to see, you know, all the shipping boxes up here and even up here, you know, here it's getting dark, all here, a few shipping boxes. We have different ones. The ones on the, here, these ones are for cheaper instruments, and these ones over there are for more expensive instruments. And we have several types of boxes, so we can send them a little bit like this. Yeah, I don't know if you can just see it here. It should be all clean, you know, but I'm accumulating a lot of stuff you can't imagine. Now I have to open here the workshop here, turn some light on in order that you can see something. And then here, this is the room you know already, where I make all my videos. I slightly flip the camera once around. So here you have all the diplomas and all the awards on some competitions, and this is, I'm not really crazy for these competitions. It's always a nice way to measure yourself a little bit and to get your maximum of what you believe they want to a certain specific date. But you know, it's somehow like this. And here we have a few instruments. A half-size cello, which is already over 10 years like this, maybe 15. It was actually intended to make for my daughter, but then she was already too big, so she got the 3/4 one, which is here now behind me. And then we have a Scala Perfetta. And then we have another Scala Perfetta, a specific model, a stranger one, and a Guarnieri style or something. And then we have a, what is it? Marco Dotti, this one, which is really nice actually. And then this one is the cello from Venice, Claudio Venturini, from the 90s, something like this. This one had on the ribs glued in some plastic strips, so, and they went off and made a noisy, ugly noise, and the ribs were cracked and lots of problems. And now they have a very strong wolf tone, and I have to put some wolf tone killer inside. Want to see the best one. And here there's this instruments, which are probably all slightly dusty, just a little bit, you know. And a few violin reference books and the instruments, which are ready. On this side over there, there are a few instruments here from myself. A few, 1, 2, 3, and then up there are another 2 instruments. One is a Guarnieri from 1999 or something, or 92 maybe. I have to look here. Finished my coffee. What was it? 1997. Okay, this was pretty interesting. It's so dark here, so you, in the darkness, every instrument is really great, huh? But it looks decent. Made already the channel quite good, like in the Guarnieri style, yeah. Which is, I think, important detail. While on the Strat, you make it like this, right? Very narrow, yeah. Different way of working. And here, the coffee cup. Wow. Okay, so I think this is quite nice like this, okay? And I don't want to be annoying here for you. This is an instrument which I bought on an auction for someone, and then they didn't want it anymore. But it is actually, it looks strange now, the string, certainly after 2 months, you know, my string went down. But it is an interesting piece of making, because it's an instrument, a factory-made instrument from the south of Italy. So it's an Italian instrument, yeah. On my homepage for 999. Interesting piece, yeah. Which is probably the most affordable one, which I have in my workshop. Here, bows, bows, bows. Dörflerbogen. And some nice Dörflerbogen. I even bought just one before I went into the shutdown. And I'm happy that they work very nice and they work very great. And that's what the world needs nowadays. And this is something super special, which I will talk another time. But this is something which I made 2012, I think. Yes, 2012. Yes, 2012. Great. So then this here, we walk all the way to the front, or we can walk through the workshop. It's up to you. Okay. It's really here. It's somehow strange that there's nobody else in the workshop, only me and Min, but you know, we have to clean, organize everything a little bit better. Okay. So, and the ceiling is very high, by the way. Okay. The ceiling it's like 5.2 meters high, the ceiling. So it's really high ceiling. Yeah. Nowadays you would make 2 floors in a building like this. And even in this building, in the musician room, here you see my haircut, which I made myself yesterday, all myself. You can, but you know, if it doesn't work with violins, I always can be a haircutter. Glad I don't have to do that. Roberto is better doing this for me. But here you see this ceiling. It's very beautiful. It is really beautiful. But the problem is that the echo is far too loud. So it's just hello, hello, you know? Yeah. So here you can see already the workshop. This wall was not inside. You can see here, there's the wall up, and this is the arch, which then continues in the other room, you know? So it's really, no? And then here we come to the front. Here a few wood which I bought from Lorenz from Bubenreuth, from the sun. His father collected also this wood, you know, took from a Chinese painter, which I saw on the road, and then I liked it very much. And then I just thought, hey, this is a nice painting. I bought this like 20 years ago. And then in the corridor, these pictures, very technical, but they have something which I like very much. So then I bought of these ones. I bought like 20 of those pictures, and then I gave them to friends and things like this. Yeah. And here we have Cremona. But this is an old map, and I'm not able to tell you exactly where my workshop is here, because it's really difficult. But it should be somewhere here. Hold on. I'm not able to tell you where my workshop is. I have to study it a little bit more. More or less, it was always in the middle, but I'm not sure if it was here somewhere. But it's quite in the center now of the, yeah, but this is an old map, very old. So a lot of buildings do not exist anymore. Zack, zack, zack. No, it's okay. This is the cathedral. And then this is Via Solferino. And then you go down here. And then very likely it's somewhere in this area. You have to think about all this area here during the time of Napoleone has been bombed away. And there was also this area here, which was called Isola, and there was also the workshop of Guarnieri and from Stradivari in this area. So that has all been changed completely after Napoleone. Yeah. And this one is an old map. Oh no, it's actually it's not so old. It's from Cremona. And you can see the Po River, which was still very important, but at the time of Stradivari it was certainly very important that wood could be brought back to Cremona. Yeah. So this is great here. So now I will make a little bit of noise, doing a few things here in order that I can put my cell phone in a good way here. Up, like this. I'm really good with one hand. You can't imagine. Sorry, today I hope you will not be like this. So now I connect this computer here. I hope it is connected. Is it connected? Yes. Okay. I just have to turn it on. Please come. Okay. And I'm really curious what kind of question we have to face today, right? No, però intanto va veloce. O dici che... Wow, oh, certainly is written very small on the small cell phone, you know. Wow, but it's okay. Let's go to the very end. Xiu Yi Lu. Hi, Edgar. I'm very interested in the fact that you have different lines of instruments. As a beginner, I would like to find out how you make sure that the Scala Perfetta violin meets your standards, as it's not actually made in your workshop. This is actually a good question because I have to make a lot of compromises. And it is not this easy to make something like this, okay? And that's probably also the reason that a lot of other makers don't make it. And I can understand, since a craftsman is always convinced that he makes it much better than everyone else. Let's just take one, a plumber. He wouldn't ask not even an electrician for his home because he's convinced he makes it better and he makes everything. At the very end, he's working like crazy. So one thing, my father, who is also a maniac like me and like all these craftsmen, they always do everything themselves, always told me, Edgar, just give things to do to other people's. You cannot do everything. He always told me, and in the beginning I was, why does he say it to me? And now I know, because this was actually my father's biggest problem, and he's a surgery and he does everything by himself, the book holding and this and this. And he's really good, but this is at a certain point too much, and you have to give work a little bit to others. So when I make my own instruments, I make them exactly how I want to make them. With the Scala Perfetta, I have a list of things which I want to be made in a certain way in order that it meets my standards. And so the result which comes out is very good, but it's still a German-made instrument or out of Italy-made instrument, finished in my workshop. And here something is, I don't know what's going on here. So, and then with the Linea Macchi actually has been born because I was not actually completely satisfied. So I wanted to make a compromise between master and my, and now it's on. Okay, and this one as well. Okay, and so I created Linea Macchi 2006, and the other ones Scala Perfetta 1996 or 7 or 8 something. No, 98 I think. Huh? So this is how, and I'm actually pretty satisfied. It's certainly completely a completely different issue and a completely different kind of instrument, but it's I think it's worth the money. So if you're a beginner, for you, for instance, you buy a Scala Perfetta, and then later on a Linea Macchi, and then a Master, and then you're done. You're really well set, and you will always enjoy playing. Wow, this one is going to be connected because with the cell phone in the hand is a little bit difficult. Hi, what do you think, Adrian? Piano and violon. Hi, what do you think about School of Cremona? I think it is a very good school. Yeah, you can always make things super efficient, but if you would be like a little bit like Edgar, and if things are too efficient in school, then you wouldn't love to go to school anymore. So I think school in Cremona is Italian style. It's pretty easy. They don't really work here. Thank you. They don't really uh, are nuts, when it comes to being a school student. And I think this is just really nice, a nice environment. And especially what you have to understand is that if you make a school like this, it is very important. I think this is not so nice. Sorry. I thought I will put this in front of the computer, but it doesn't look great. Sorry. I put you on the side as it was before, and this is much better. So I think the school in Cremona is a good reason to be in Cremona. And the environment in Cremona, if you think of 160 violin workshops, you can go wherever you want and you will always meet a violin maker. And the exchange between makers is actually the super great value of Cremona. So in America, they have Oberlin and other workshops where makers meet, or you have to make a workshop course to learn something new or to exchange with other makers. And nowadays with internet, things are proceeding quicker, even if you're not in Cremona. But the fact to be in Cremona is like a certain base of guarantee that you get a certain kind of way how to work. And then it's a lot of criticized from outside because people are jealous and they believe that it's just important to write Cremona inside, but the reality is actually exactly opposite. If there's so many makers, so you have to be really good in order that you can make your living. And I think that people from outside undervalue these circumstances. And I think Cremona is a very sparkling environment for makers and at the very end for musicians, because the quality, if competition is a lot of competition, quality raises. And I'm one of those who is raising the quality. So some will love and some will hate me. That's how the market works. Kayo F. Hi, Edgar. I have a question. Great. Where's your question? Does the length of the sound post being too slightly short could affect on the vibration of the strings? Now, if it affects the vibration of the strings, I'm not now so much into the question like this is a little bit difficult to answer, but it affects certainly the sound. And usually the sound is a little bit less focused. People complain that it doesn't sound anymore how it has been quite when they have chosen the instrument. And so generally speaking, it works that when I read this with a short sound post and a new instrument, it's always like this, that people buy an instrument and they decide to buy an instrument. Their colleagues listen to the instrument and say, well, nice. And then after, the colleagues don't hear this instrument every day. And so when they hear this instrument, let's say after 6 months again, and they say, well, it doesn't sound anymore. And this fact that the sound post becomes too short because it doesn't change actually the length. It's just because of the power, which is because of the string tension on the whole instrument. I made the video last week. it will be compressed and the archings are lifting up. So instead of what people think that it's always smashing down, no, it's coming up and you have to change the sound post for that reason. Okay, so on the violin, 1 millimeter, sometimes also a little bit more. On a cello, it could be also 3 millimeters, you know. So definitely it changes. So it's if your instrument is new, after 6 months, you probably need a new sound post, okay? And if the sound is great, never change a winning horse. But if you are already asking this, then very likely you know that there is something, and don't be afraid and get a nice sound post done by a good maker, and then you will be happy, okay? I hope I answered your question, Kyle. Blue, hello. Hello, Edgar. Nice to see you. You are healthy and back at work. I'm sure you're happy to be in your workshop. One question. I'm very happy to be in my workshop, you can tell, but time passes so quick. Does the length of the sound post, no, this one we had already. So where's your question? If I make half the amount of your spirit varnish, do I just use half the ingredients and will it be okay? Well, this is just like bread cooking, you know? If you want a big bread, you make double. And if you want a small panini, then you make a tenth of it, you know? So yes, of course. Okay. Ricardo Tognoli. Hi, I'm from Brazil. Hello, hello. Awesome, your job. Thank you. I'm very happy that you like it. I heard that even in Brazil now the coronavirus started to be really intense. I'm very sorry and I'm happy to see that you are fine and that you're here following my channel and that you're not dancing on the roads. Tostra, 1997, when building, keeping my own standards up without a teacher is something I find difficult. I can understand. Can you point me towards which areas of a build require the most strict precision and which are more loose? Huh? Tostra, you make questions, huh? Yes, so actually, when it comes to this question, then I actually have to say that you're just right to the point. And there are definitely some things which you can do everything you want, and others a little bit less. If you are now, let's say, a beginner, then I just would say that you have to choose a model which is symmetric. So left and right is very equal, especially at the upper bouts and lower bouts. What you do in the Cs, one longer and shorter and up and down, doesn't mind. But the fact that you have exactly a precise system to go to your center line, this is very important, okay? And the same with the bridge area where the bridge stands, in order that the bridge is standing exactly left and right the right way, okay? This is very important. And so all this comes to also to the net setting. One thing is the last video of last week of the side, how it should be. The other side, the length. And for the length, it all has to be lined up. So to make things simple, it all comes down that you have to invest a lot of time to make things as straight as possible, okay? And the more precise you are in this area, the better it is. And on the other side, you can just throw in perfilling. You can just don't put any perfilling, just like the Store did. You can make scrolls, flowers, lion heads, and dragons. You can make balls and you can make hands and captures and statues, whatever you want on the scroll area. It's just important that the strings are going down in a certain way and the things are made in a certain concept, always looking the instrument from the front, that everything has its own direction and all is very clean and straight. Just think of a bridge, how precise it has to be, and if it's not precise, it will fall down. Um, the F-holes. Beginners invest a lot of time in how equal one F-hole is to another and all this. You're wasting time. After 100 F-holes, you will be super good in cutting also F-holes. Just do it. A sound post has to go in, and the rest is not so important. Even the position is not so important. People are calculating whatever. The bass bar is important. Where the bass bar is towards the bridge foot. Made a video about it, check it, and that's important. Where the sound post is, that's important. Check it out. The fingerboard. I made last time the video for musicians about fingerboard, how it should be, and they cannot. This is very important. That's where the sound is being created. But other things, the neck shape, I think is very important. It's not for the sound, but for the comfort. It's nice if you have a nicely V shape, but it cuts your fingers, or if it's scratching your hand, you want something smooth. As soon as you don't think about it anymore, it's great. uh, it's not that you make an instrument and you have to make your best instrument, but you have to make something where a musician can identify and feel it as its own body. An instrument is like a longer fingers in my mind. Okay, so it's like a I don't know how you call this, protesi, which gives you the additional advanced accessory for a human being to express yourself better. Some people express great with the voice, and so they become singers, and others can't even talk in public, but they love to play. And the more people out there, the better they play. And that's what you do when you make instruments. Bene, I think this is the good questions. Tostra, your workshop is beautiful. By the way, a little mess is required. Oh, thank you. I will try to clean up a little bit in order that when people come in, they have the feeling that it's possible to make everything even cleaner and very nice, okay? Riccardo Tognoli, in my country, some luthiers use native woods too much to make the instruments, not the standard like spruce and maple. What your opinion about that? Sorry, my terrible English. It's not a problem. I can understand that people love to use the proper woods. It's always a question, a little bit of what you're looking for, and it's nice to use other materials. For me, myself, I used other materials, but the smaller the instrument becomes, the less you have the less you can change the material, except spruce and maple, and you will hear the difference. So if it's just that you make your proper violin out of some fruit or whatever, then it's also nice. But if you want a violin, you want to compete and you want to be accepted and you want to compete also against all the other makers and you want to see what it is, then I think it is better to stay on the standard wood. And a little bit even about the spruce, I think I want to use the wood from the right area where they have the right direction where it should come from, things like this. But it's okay. I on a cello, double bass, you can use mahogany, you can use everything. The bigger the wood is, the instrument is, the more you can actually change the wood. Violin out of poplar is something. Here they say you can easily send a violin out of poplar to a gypsy, but not to a musician, And there's something true. It's very fancy looking, but sound-wise, it's a little bit different. Now that I can see myself here with my haircut, which I made myself last night, in the YouTube video, actually I see that it's not so great cut. I thought it turned out super great, but I still have to improve my ability to cut my hair. Well, in the backside here was really difficult, because you don't know how to do it in front of the sink, and then you just by fingers, and then with the scissors, I always cut myself. It was not so easy, but it worked out quite well. Okay. Alvin Carvalho. That's a well-organized workshop. Excellent work, maestro. Thank you. Nicolas Artamonov. Yes, very nice workshop. Thank you, Nicola. Dame Pelistoyanovsky. Wow, long name, huh? Pelistoyanovsky. Bravo. Grazie, Dame. Bluehu, your workshop is very beautiful. Would it have been someone's house in the past? Yes, it has been someone's house in the past. I don't know who it was, but it was the house. And where I'm sitting right now, this area, there were no walls towards the road. And here there came the courses inside. And this door here is actually the main entrance to the building. And then you go into the building, okay? And a few years ago, when the landlord, the old lady, was still alive, I went once upstairs, and what in our workshop are 1, 2, 3 rooms, she had upstairs as her living room, and she was living by herself, all by herself alone, and that was only one room, and she had like 3 4 island with sofa and television and small tables and things like this and everything. And then she walked around and she showed me something, and I counted 17 rooms. So what here are 3 rooms, up is 1 room, and she had altogether 17 rooms. Okay, so you just have to imagine how big the whole building, how they were living. And her husband then in the 50s came or 60s came back from the United States. He was an uh, engineer, and then he bought this whole building, and then they decided they split the garden and sold it to the ones in front, and they made then this ugly building of a Palazzo Exfulmine and things like this. But it's a big building. It's really nice. I would love to own this place. Ta -ta 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 -ta. Alvin. Oh, where's Alvin now? I lost Alvin. Where are you? Sorry. Here. On seeing your stored violins, I'm looking forward to watching varnish and teaking methods from you for both spirit and oil varnish if the methods are different. Yes, of course, we will do this all, okay? Just give me some time because I also have to work a little bit, you know. You wouldn't expect so, but beside making videos, I also work a little bit, and give me some time, and then slowly, we will make some new videos, okay? Alexander Winkler, hi Edgar, if I buy an Eau de Parfum, can you send it to the current situation? Also, what is a good violin polish receipt for giving a violin some shine? I will make a video about cleaning and polishing the instrument, and then I will show you. The perfume, it depends where you are living. Alexander Winkler, seems like Germany, right? Germany, we're able to send with GLS. Yes. So within Europe, it's pretty easy. United States, recently they make troubles. DHL, I just wanted, before the lockdown, I wanted to make a course in order they can send also solvents and things like this. So they're blocking right now all my shippings. For many years it was possible. Right now they always block everything. I had to go to the douane, fetch the bottle out and things like this. So depends on your instrument, on your address, where we can send it. But ask or send buy it, and then I see of your address, and if I can, I keep the payment, otherwise I give it back, you know. So just go on the online shop and on my webpage, and then to the shop, and then do it, okay? Mariel, Joshua Taklop, you are back again here. Hi, Mr. Edgar. What are the small things that I can do on my violin to make it sound better even without the help of a luthier? This is a good question, but I don't know your actual situation, so I don't know what you can do. Probably one of the very most important things in just generally looking, if the bridge is exactly 90 degrees to the center line. Okay, and this is how I put the ruler underneath the bridge, and then I just look to the bertheling of the sea bouts if it's straight or not, and then in case it's not, then I tick 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 tick, and then I measure along how much it is exactly, 19.6 and a little bit more, 19.65, something like this, to the lower bridge feet corner. And then I put this one, and once I have this in the perfect situation, I look that the bridge is nicely 90 degrees to the top towards the tailpiece, okay? So in front it is like this, and here it is 90 degrees. Here is the tailpiece, and the distance from the bridge to the tailpiece should be a 1/6 of the spring length. So if your spring length is 32.8, 1/6, I have calculated it probably 100,000 times in my life yet. It's 54.555, no, 66666, so it's 55 millimeters. Yeah. So you, in case it is not correct, you have to low down all the strings, take off the bridge, watch out that the sound post is not falling down. Don't take it in the seas or something, just leave it like this. And if then you stand it up towards the side where the sound post is, try to take off the tailpiece, very careful without doing any pressure so that the sound post is not falling down, and then make it shorter to make the length longer, or longer to make the distance shorter. Yeah. And if this is correct, then probably your instrument sounds already much better. Sunrisia 1. Hi, Edgar. I'm just curious about the age of this building, 15th century, I think. I guess it is more than a century old. Yes, it is. It's definitely, it's close to 400 something years old. And was this used for dwelling many years ago? What is dwelling? I don't know dwelling mean, cosa vuol dire dwelling? D-W-E-L-L-I-N-G. Dwelling. Hmm? Yes, it was for living. It was definitely a house for living. Yes, and when on the road on the beginning of this video, I'm driving the last minute to back to my workshop. You see that at a certain point after the theater Filodrammatici, you go a little around and say, this is the theater, which is in front of my building, the yellow building. And then I go a little bit along, and then you see up the road is the bridge. And this was actually the bridge where these rich people who were living in this building in the evening, or probably Friday night, or I don't know. And instead of going to a discotheque or a nice restaurant, they just walked through this bridge into the theater, and they had a private access to the theater. Yeah, so they were probably very wealthy. Caio F, thank you. You are welcome. Ignacio Mayersik. Hello, Edgar. Do you build spalacellos? I don't know what spalacellos are, so I don't know. Hold on. Hmm? Ah, okay, like this. Lira da braccio, but cello, I have never made it, not yet. But if you give me some time, I would see if I can do something like this. I'm extremely open to every kind of new things which I can do, but this one is something I have not done yet. Okay. As soon as I touch it, I don't see where I am anymore, sorry. Sorry, I lost here. Do you have one build? I don't have yet a Spalacello, and I have to see what it is exactly. Write me an email, and I will see what I can do, and I see what but I think it is all more or less same, but it seems to be something interesting. And yeah, I would need give me a little bit more time. Write me an email, and I will write you what I can offer you. Okay. Blue, should the top and bottom arching heath be equal to the heath of the ribs? Good question. I think that in the past they didn't really uh, think too much about it. Huh? Now I will immediately have lots of makers who will say, "Hey, oh, it's just so much." But I actually I believe that this is. I'm not so curious. I'm not so convinced about this. That it has been such a. Here I found it just in a better position. I think. Huh? Isn't this much nicer? Hmm? This looks better, huh? Don't you think so? Yeah, right? So this is nicer. And it's a little bit higher than all this straight. So, and so I believe that actually they made it more or less the same. And because of the forces, the top got a little bit squeezed and the back got pushed out. And so after years, things have changed. This is my personal opinion. Indeed, the tops seem to be much higher made in the very beginning, but I don't believe that they all made it so precisely much higher. So while other makers usually always make the top definitely higher, I try to make it more or less the same. I don't know. This is just my personal, yeah. Uh, but the secret actually is not there. It's a little bit certainly many small details together all make something. So it's but it's not that I invested too much time in this matter, and I think they at the time they couldn't afford even not to make an instrument out of a piece of wood if in case it was too low. Okay. But if top and back together are as high as the ribs, then it is very good. Thanks from Southern California, from Michael Pupret, Temescal Canyon. Stay safe. You too. Hmm? America is now really tough, and I really hope it's soon over, but we just follow the numbers here. And wow, when in the beginning, when it came to Cremona, the virus, you were still thinking, we are thinking of you, and now it's even worse. Damn. So sorry about this. Tostra, thank you very much. Very good answer. So far, symmetry, straightness, and setup for me has been no issue, but I don't feel too confident in my edge work. For instance, the edge work is not so important, except that it's about the in the beginning you focus a lot of about this edge work because it's visible. You can see that you're probably not yet completely developed, and but this is only the surface. You know, it's not the. Okay, I'm proud of my effort. So I can believe. Ricardo Tognoli, thank you. You're welcome. Amal, peace be upon you. Thank you. Amar Al-Malki, very nice. Bluehu, I'm considering cutting my hair, or I may ask my wife to do so. I also had my hair cut by my wife once, and then yesterday I said, hey, let's see if I can do it. Otherwise, you can always ask my honey, Elena, mi tagliare I capelli? Amar, what can I do if I play right-handed violin and I play it on left-handed? Well, you just what is better for you, and then you get a left-handed violin. You know, it's easy. It's not so difficult. Yeah, every instrument can be changed. It's just that violin makers maybe don't like to change. But the pegs, for instance, you could just leave, and this is actually even better if where the G string is, it goes quicker inside, and then you put the E string there, and then a G string, and but where the pegs are, I would just leave that nobody cares about this, and the rest is just the bass bar inside and a sound post. and you just go to a maker and get it converted. If you're left-handed, you like it better. And that's it. But it's difficult to say to me now. Alvin, thanks for answering, Maestro. As a fellow luthier, I know how important it is to catch up with work after the lockdown situation. Also, I wanted to ask, do you do mode tuning on assembled instruments? I did it. I said that already in the past. I did all kind of tuning on the plates with the Hutchins system, and then even by tipping and seeing what note and things like this. And I wrote it down and I measured all the things. If you're quite in the beginning of your first 20 or 30 instruments, then definitely is a good way to do that. But at a certain point, you just rely on what you feel, and this is good. Okay. Tom Chan, hi Edgar. Did Ayong make cello? Yes, of course. Ayong made a cello. Ayong made a Francesco Ruggeri copy, and it really sounds great. I will make it happen that you can hear it, that you can see it, and I will put it on my online shop so that you can hear how it is. And it's a really nice instrument. I just borrowed it now to the musician of the Claudio Venturini from Venice, so it's now in good hands and it is being played. But I have to finish the Venturini, and then I get the other one back. Merta Yamalipur, happy to see you, hale and hearty. Nice. Con I cuoricini. G-string is not strong enough. I changed everything, but still not good. What can I do? Have any suggestion? I don't know you. I have no suggestion, but what I would just, when I see something like this, I would say sound post should be a little bit towards the F hole, a little bit out from the central line towards the F hole, just a little bit on the top side. That's what I would recommend if you are now, you have a sound post setter somewhere, you found it, and then you have to put this on. This is what I would say. If you don't have the chance to put the sound post setter in a different position, then what could you do? Could you do? You could move the bridge slightly towards the G string, just slightly, and then you will see if it becomes stronger. Okay. It's certainly, this is for my colleagues who are as maniacs as me when it comes to preciseness of an instrument. This is just but now you're home and you want to get this problem solved, then probably it's a good solution to do that. Okay. Other great ideas. I wouldn't have any other great ideas now. Yeah. No, would be now my very idea here. And then certainly always measure the distance of the spring length. If the bridge is standing in the right position, 19.65 to the backside of the bridge feet, straight 90 degrees to the center line. And then the distance, just as I told like 10 minutes ago or 20 to the tailpiece, a 6 of the string lengths should be the distance from the bridge to the tailpiece. So which means 54.7 would be a great measurement of millimeters to have that, and then it would probably sound all great. This is now here advice from far away, and I have no idea how your situation is. And certainly once you show up, and I can adjust everything for you. Or otherwise, you can always book online session for, I don't know, what was this, €95, and then we can do that together. Okay. Larry Counts, greetings, Edgar. Great seeing you in your happy place. Definitely, huh? Jason P, push-ups will help for stronger G and sticker rosin. Yes, push-ups. It's certainly it's a hard way, but Maybe also the bow hair is also something, but I would first start with the violin. Then I would go with the bow, and then maybe even also cleaning the strings and new rosin on it could also be. And then later on, you would see how this is. Okay. Tostra, on the topic of tuning, would you recommend tuning a violoncello in the white by scraping the outside? Any system to do so? I can imagine thinning the channels makes it darker for the instance and things like that. Usually, I did it always from the inside. And then certainly that once you are in this, and then there are always some people who say, did you know that the old makers made first the inside and then the outside? It's theory, and the more I thought about it, I just think this is just impossible, especially 200 years ago, uh, straight from the inside. Okay, and before adjusting the sound by scraping in the arching, believe me, there are so lots of other things to work on that don't waste your time. Believe me, you're tuning the pieces and then you put them on the ribs and all this tuning is gone. It's just the system to keep a little bit a certain condition equal from one instrument to another. So I wouldn't, and then with the channel and all this, yes, it's true, but there are not so much different, there's not so much margin, okay? Amar, keep things as easy as possible, as simple as possible, and don't make it too difficult. The problem that we don't have a violin maker or luthier in Bahrain or Middle East. Wow, yeah. You know, as soon as they start flying again, I would say, come to me. Okay. Thank you for answering my questions. You're welcome. Ignazio, what is the instrument behind you standing visible? It's a viola. Yes, it's a viola. It's a viola from a Slovenian maker. What was his name? Wow, listen now by talking. It doesn't have a. It's not really super nice. It's a little bit. The color is a little bit boring, and the wood as well, but probably good for sounding. But I just somehow received it. It gets, you know, when you're with these friends you have, and then they are trying to give you something, and then it's different. Very particular scroll, Slovenian maker who passed away a few years ago, but I got to meet him. He was actually a nice guy. And now I don't remember his name. I have to think about it. His name, sorry. Here I have the biggest collection of him. So, Willem Demsha, Madonna, now I'm feel sorry that Demsha, here he made a violin and the neck was definitely too thin, you know. But it's a very typical instrument. Even this one I have here, I forgot it even that I have it, and I never offer it. But it's here a little bit too much up, I think, and then a little bit like this, like a hook to hang it away, and the scroll very small. Even here, the eye of the scroll is very strange. I don't know if you can see this. You can tell it's not Italian. This is a William Damesha, 2003. It's approximately 3,000 euros, something like this. Yeah, maybe now even more, I don't know. But since he passed away, I think his son took over the shop, but I didn't hear about it anymore. He made a lot of instruments in Slovenia. Yeah, and usually when people buy let's say a Linia Maki or a master instrument and they give me something like this, then I take it in. Yeah. So at a certain point I had like Demsha violins, maybe 3 or 4. Now I think I only have one violin and one viola. Yeah. But you know, like this. Wow, this is interesting name. Ecogitatoris hominum. Cheers from Brazil, my friend. The knowledge you pass down here is amazing. Thank you so much for it. You're welcome. It's free. Have to say about this one, 76 minutes. Man, I have to close down here. And about this, that is free. I will talk to you soon. JC Bosco, hi Edgar, hi all. Amayor7, dear Edgar, hello, back again. Dear Edgar, I tried bending ribs for a cello for the first time. I cracked the wood. What do I do wrong? You don't soak the wood long enough, and the ribs are too thick. So I would recommend to make them 1.6 maybe for the C's and 1.8 for the upper and the lower parts is a great idea. And then the bending iron has to be nicely hot. 180 degrees is the right temperature, and you can understand that when you heat it up, you always try to put a drop of water. And you will see in the beginning when it's still warming up after just about 100 degrees, the drop is going on the bending iron and then yeah, and evaporates. At the point that the water comes down and stays like a small pearl and is rolling down, then it's 180 degrees. So then you just turn down the temperature on your regulator that it stays on that temperature, okay? And then you should bend it. If you stay long and it is burning, it's too hot, so you have to blow down. So you invest a little bit of time to understand, and that takes hours, okay? And once you have your exactly position from your temperature where it is, then you sign it on your potentiometro, on your regulator. You put it exactly. So I put for cello, make a C, for violin, I make V and things like this, and then just put it exactly. And so then I have it very nicely under control. And I put it at least for 1 hour, at least, maybe even two in water. No hurry, just put it inside. And then if you don't want that the ribs are warping too much, then don't put additional water. Just try to do it in one time, stay on and try to make it. I know for the very first time it's pretty impossible. But as soon as you start putting on the hot rib on one side water, so if you start bending then and you want some water, then everything into the water, okay? And not putting water only on one side. And this is my recommendation. But you're definitely working with not enough, maybe too thick, too nicely flamed for the beginning, and you're not able to bend it right now. It's a lot of technique of putting the rib on the bending iron, leave it there, let the woods have its time to heat up the water inside, that it's boiling nice, and then you feel like it is going slightly, and you can bend it. Min is making here pictures from me while I'm talking to you about house rib banding here, okay? Mariel Yoshua, so far, what is the best instrument did you ever made? The last one. And the next one I'm making for you will be the best. That's my answer, because I'm always giving my very best for every instrument, okay? This is what you deserve. All my customers, and that's what I'm doing. So every customer is helping to contribute for my development to being the best. Tostra, I agree on working from the inside and not worrying too much about the free play tuning, apart from keeping certain proportions. But without much experience, systems are nice. Certainly, systems are always nice, especially when you don't know and you just need some points. But even about the proportions, if you just make a spread model, go for it, and you don't have to worry about all these things. People from the past have already dedicated a lot of time. Make things now easy, and as soon as you have the craftsmanship, then you can put things into reality. Right now you have other problems, so you have to make a certain keep on making a certain to acquire a certain ability. Thank you very much, Mayor 7. Opin, hi from Athens. Athens is great. Huh? Anna was there for 6 months. She just came back just for the coronavirus lockdown. Edgar, thanks for the knowledge you share. You're welcome. I love Athens. I love Greece. You know, it's just so great. Even yesterday, I had a little bit of retina. Anna gave it to me. Pin Lin Chu. Hi, Edgar. Hi, Pin Lin. You're back here. Greetings from Nuremberg again. Das ist schön. I'm curious about the difference between high-end fittings like Bogaro and Clemente, Temple, and mid-range fittings. What's the best differences between them? Whoa, this is a good question. I would say it's more about beauty and what you like better. I like the Temple, which are nicely made. I think they're nice, soft in touch. Bogaro Clemente is a little bit stiff and sometimes a little bit sharp. Yeah, that's only the one you love is the best. Believe me, okay? Certainly, then I answer like this, and I'm the first maniac who is just no, this one not and this. But I just don't want. I don't believe that it's so now that there's so big differences. What I just think on a tailpiece that the distance is not too long in order that you can respect having the right distance from the tailpiece to the bridge, for instance. So I want it not too long, and I don't like it if it's a very sharp point and it's peeking into your neck or throat here, and and then it certainly it has to also be stable. I had put it on some nice fittings from a guy, from French guy, and the tailpiece bursted into like 5, 6 pieces, you know. So this can happen. This is the horrifying vision of any musician, and you certainly don't want that. But in these companies, they're all more or less quite okay. So Temple, I would probably go on Temple, but I wouldn't take this very skinny pegs. When they're too thin, I think there has to be a certain, only light is too light, you know, take it a little bit, but they have some nice fittings. Tostra, what is your favorite violin model? Right now, my favorite model is Testore and Guarnieri. I have to admit that this is somehow what I like very much, but this is very personal. And on the cello, I probably love Ruggeri is something I like very much, and the Montagnana I like also very much. Jason P, any local church with good acoustics you can have someone perform with your instruments? Would be nice to hear some full performances. I am always open for every kind of things, but right now it's really difficult, you know. But here there are some nice places where you can play, huh? So as soon as this whole COVID thing is over, we should make something. I would love to. That would be nice. Where are you coming from? Send me an email. Amar, in the future, I will learn making violin in Italy because there's a lot of people and need to help. Very good. Thank you very much. Okay, so I would say this is it for today. We were very long here, 84 minutes. Oh my God, it's like 1.5 hours. I will on Thursday make another question and answer for musicians, and I will talk about how to clean and maintain the instrument here in my workshop, and I will show them how they do it, and I show them different solutions and things how I do it. And this is for this week at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I will make it a little bit a different time, so some people from other time areas have the ability to see me also live. And then from next week on, I thought that I will make question and answer, maybe not every week because I really have to work and it's a lot of time consuming here. And now I really have to go back to work. That I started to work on to put things on Patreon. So you can subscribe for a yearly, monthly subscription. And when you subscribe, then you get the code to be part of the question and answer. And I think this is a good way that something comes back, because there is nothing coming back into my pockets with all these nice videos. Yeah, it's just a pizza with my two daughters, after taxes, maybe. I'm not so sure about it. So that's why I start also to make this Patreon thing, and I'm just working here on how I can make the whole thing with Patreon also possible, that you also get something back. So I will make a little bit, a few options, and then you can choose. But I think it is a good possibility to stay in touch, especially for makers and for musicians and for everybody who wants to contribute or show me help. I will make this Patreon, or certainly for one-time help. I always accept donations on my PayPal account, whatever. I think this is all for today. Keep in touch. I enjoy doing this very much, and I'm happy that you are all so happy. Oh my God, here is there something good here. It was a pleasure. Good for your answer. Yes, okay, no, I thought there was somebody else talking here. Okay, so thanks for watching. Stay tuned, and there are some new things coming up very soon. Okay, bye bye. Ciao, ciao. Thank you. Bye bye. Bye bye.